You're listening to the Youth Critic Podcast on KHZ Network. Find us on Facebook at Decibel UNG Radio and find us on Twitter at Decibel UNG. If you like this episode, please leave a like and comment on our iTunes page at KHZ Network. And now for the podcast.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Youth Critic Podcast. I am your host, Cale Smith, and joining me today is Brandon Colley.
Hey, everybody.
Andy Comer.
How's it going?
And Chris Patton. And
Heyo.
I almost went ahead. Anyway, today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War, Part 1 of The End.
Part 1 of a 20-movie saga.
Yeah, part 1 of the end of the first part of Marvel's takeover on the world. Because this movie made a lot of money. Like, it's already made over 700 million worldwide.
It's over 800 million.
Oh, sorry, 800. That was from yesterday's estimates. Jesus Christ, this movie's made more money than God. It's yeah, it's just making money. It's just pretty much. It's probably gonna be Star Wars: The Force Awakens at the domestic box office, which is insane. And yeah, it's just insanity. But before we get lost in the insane box office, starting with you, Chris, what did you think of Avengers: Infinity War?
Oh, I get to start? Okay. Well, I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it was probably one of, if not the best so far, one of the top 5 of the 30 million Marvel movies they've made so far. And I think one of the biggest concerns a lot of people had going into it was just the balancing act of all these different characters and just everyone hogging the spotlight pretty much. And I think they handled it pretty much the best way they could have, given the amount of people they had in this movie, all the different actors in it, I don't even want to think about how much this cost just to pay every person that was in this movie. But narrative wise, I think it worked really well. I think all the characters were treated, fairly, and had equal importance. Well, okay, maybe not everybody, but almost everybody had their time to shine and had a reason for being a part of the story. It wasn't just, it wasn't like a Suicide Squad where there's a bunch of characters in there that's like what was the Katana girl from Suicide Squad? Who just shows up and doesn't say anything.
Katana.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. That's how forget her. Her name is the weapon, and I can't even remember it. But the thing is, yeah, it's like that, or it's like Justice League, where it's like Flash gets thrown in, and it's like, I don't know why Flash is even here. Like Batman just wants him to be in the movie.
Chris. He's a funny.
Because he's supposed to be funny. Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was a good movie. It was a good time. Definitely bring your kids to this movie. They will enjoy it, especially the ending.
Andy?
I thoroughly enjoyed Avengers Infinity War. In my initial showing, it had pacing issues, and a few other things, but the pacing issues was what was really drawing me back in my score the first time. I'm like, well, I got to give this some time, because it took a whole day for me to even process everything that happened. And then when I watched it the second time, it definitely was significantly better pacing wise, because you know what to expect. Like, it was just really jarring to go from Avengers to Guardians the first time, because they're so tonally different that it just kind of pulled me out of the movie that first time. And then second time, when you're ready for it, then it's like, okay, this flows a lot better now. I'm a lot more used to it. It's like I wasn't ready, which I've been saying all week, that until somebody, like, nobody going into this movie is ready for what they're about to go through. Nobody can be ready. It's
except maybe Brandon.
It's everything that you could possibly want, and a few things that you probably didn't, but guess what? It happened anyway, and it was still awesome. It is my second favorite Marvel movie right now.
Brandon?
Well, I went in with very low expectations, which turned out to work very well, because I didn't like it. I went with low expectations because I don't follow these Marvel movies very much. I forgot a lot about previous ones besides the ones I really liked. So I was confused throughout some of it, but overall I liked it. There's enough good scenes that kept me interested. It is a jumbled mess throughout some of it. Pacing problems, yeah, like you said. The ensemble cast was kind of worked. It reminded me a lot of the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, in terms of just that many characters being balanced. I think this had more characters than that movie, but I mean, yeah, I liked a lot of the scenes, some of the set pieces and all that. In terms of action, it was fine. Humor, I think they had some funny parts in it. I guess for me, I'm not really as engaged with the story in this as I am with compared to other people. I'm not really a fan of the Marvel movies that much. In terms of how good this is in comparison to the rest of them, it's better than Thor Ragnarok. Not as good as Black Panther. Much better than Age of Ultron. That's why I wasn't really interested in this one, because the trailers looked like it was going to be like Age of Ultron, kind of that jumbled mess of plot points mixing together, and But so yeah, overall I liked it. It'd be in the upper tier for me with Marvel movies. But yeah, that's initial thoughts.
So my initial thoughts on Avengers Infinity War are that, first of all, it's really good. It's really good. The pacing at the beginning is a little clunky, because they're trying to explain to, not to throw you under the bus, Brandon, but to the people who don't follow all the Marvel movies, they're trying to catch everyone up to what are these Infinity Stones, what's going on, and yeah, they're just trying to catch everybody up to speed on what's going on, but then after that, it's it gets really good. You learn more about Thanos and his relationship to his daughters, and you learn more and more and more about Thanos' kind of point of view of everything, and we spend a lot more time with Thanos, and then we're with the characters as they're trying to protect the MacGuffins that they have. So it becomes interesting, and then it culminates to a really compelling third act that you feel everyone fighting their hardest against Thanos, and then the ending happens, and it's truly not necessarily shocking, but just this, you just feel the defeat. You feel the. I can't. This is dumb.
It's not. They're not defeated. They're not dead.
Hold on. Okay.
Kids may think so, but I mean, anybody who understands the movie business and capitalism should know.
I'm failing to jump around the spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'm failing at this, but initially I thought it was really good. I think, not to be comparative, but I think if I had to rank these movies, I would put Black Panther more on top, because it's the more completed story, and it has a more interesting. It has something interesting to say. It has something
World building.
And the world building is really good, and the characterization of Black Panther and his arc is a lot better than having the than exploring the characterizations and the arcs here. So with that, I think Black Panther is just a hair better, but Infinity War is a really good movie in scope and scale, and it's really I thought it was incredibly beautiful to look at. This was Marvel's most colorful, more interestingly designed film. And I'm eating my words because I know I've kept saying this to everyone. I thought Thanos in those trailers looked terrible, but here it looks really good. I don't know what they did, but Thanos looks really good. The mocap looks really good here, so I don't know what it was. So with that, do you guys want to go into spoilers?
Well, before that, I would say one thing. While I was coming here, I was thinking that my favorites so far have been Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and Winter Soldier. And for 3 different reasons. Guardians of the Galaxy has the humor, Black Panther has the world building, and Winter Soldier has the best action. And this movie tries to do all 3 of those things, and I think sometimes it works, but other times it just seems like kind of jumbled. And a lot of the jokes are funny, but some of them don't really kind of fall flat. The action is good sometimes, but also kind of a mess in other scenes. It's kind of the way it's orchestrated. The world building, to those who aren't into the Avengers movies, is very confusing. I mean, they did explain a lot of the stuff, like the Infinity Stones. I think I get it now, but there's a lot of plot holes, a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense to people who aren't into the Avengers movies. So, yeah.
and that's what I will say is, if you're not into the Marvel MCU, like if you're not following these movies, which most people are, you know, if you're not into it, like if you've kind of come to the exception that you'll like these movies, maybe not love them, or you just don't like them at all for whatever reason, this Infinity War is just not going to change your mind, because you have to kind of had some investment in these movies before watching this one. You had to have gravitated towards a few characters, or a set of characters, and yeah. So I don't recommend it to the people who are not MCU fans. So with that, do you guys want to get into spoilers?
Sure.
All right. We're just going to take a momentary break, and then we'll be back in just a second.
The end is near. When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Youth Critic podcast. I'm here with Gina Aversa from the Waffle Press.
Hey, how you doing?
And right before we get into the spoiler section, let's talk of the show. Gene and I are going to talk about Avengers: Infinity War for a few minutes. So, Gene, what did you think of Infinity War?
Well, I really enjoyed Infinity War as an event. In film, it encapsulated like everything a event in the comic book world should feel like. All the interactions, all the fights and battles, and kind of the epicness of the original storyline. And it really, after all these years of hyping Thanos, he finally shows up, and you've seen him in cameos, and you've seen him through different CGI appearances with different character models and actors. But the Josh Brolin Thanos really hit the marks of just how the Jim Starlin Thanos is. He had this like regal quality to him where you didn't really agree with what he was doing, but you could at least see how logical it was,
Yeah, because that's the thing that I found compelling about Thanos is that he's a character that is doing absolutely cruel things, not
Right.
just what he plans to do, but throughout the film, he acts very cruelly to the characters. But in the end, you kind of buy it enough to where you want to follow Thanos and see where it goes. And that's kind of the most interesting part about Infinity War is because we're following Thanos' journey to get the stones and what this means for him, but we're also following our protagonists who are now the antagonists to Thanos' story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, that's really, that's cool that they were the they were the antagonists to Thanos,
Yeah, and they put up a good fight. And that's the thing I liked about this movie is it never let down on how powerful Thanos is and how strong he is, and just how basically inept. Incapable of fighting off Thanos. They were
right.
This was a force that they had been.
Yeah, they were all just like gnats to him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and that's really the craziest part is how you just feel how just how you just feel how small they are in the grand scheme of things and how empowered and less empowered than they are. So it's just and that's really how the whole movie is, how all 2.5 hours is. Everyone is trying so hard to figure out how to combat Thanos, and it doesn't quite work.
Yeah, no,
it's not to get too.
Yeah, everything, if you look at Iron Man, if you look at Tony, everything he prepared for since, I guess Avengers was just all for nothing. Even his best efforts were, nothing to Thanos in a way. All he got was he cut him and then he bled a bit,
Yeah, he put some nanotechnology on him to kind of nano goo or whatever to heal himself. But yeah, still.
Yeah.
And then you are following, and then of course, we know as audience members, we know that Vision has one of the Mind Stones or has the Mind Stone in his head, and we're all worried about him, and we're following his relationship with Scarlet Witch, and that's really kind of the core. And hitting on that mark for a second, the core of the film is, to me, it's a story about love.
Yeah,
if you think about it. It's because it's a story about what we do for love and what we are willing to sacrifice for the things we want in love. Because Thanos, because Gamora, Gamora begs Peter to kill her in one scene, and he can't do it because he's in love with her.
Right.
Or that's basically the whole idea. That's how that's my take of the film. Is it's all about love and what we are willing to do, and what in the grand scheme of things is our love a selfish act or is it a noble act?
Yeah, I could,
and that's what I kind of take away from it. But before we get into spoilers, what else do you take from the movie that we can say too much?
Well, as a movie, I feel I said how I enjoyed it as an event, but as a movie, I think it was good. It had some flaws to it for sure, very few arcs. Well, it is a part one, but the only two arcs are Thanos and Gamora. But again, what were you expecting going into it with 36 characters? but all the vignettes were done well. We're only looking at like half of this movie, so it's very hard to judge it because the way I see it, like like Godfather Part 1 and Godfather Part 2 are more or less like the same film, or Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, it's the same movie. And it's like you're looking at like half of a movie in a microscope,
Not going on a tangent, I think the only time where the two parts was actually two separate films done very well. Or what I mean by very well is they were both the cast and crew were able to figure out how to visually distinct the two, and whatnot. Is the Breaking Dawn films, the last few?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Not saying those movies are great. I'm just saying Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2 and be like, okay, these are two different movies.
Right.
They're doing two different things.
I've only seen one of those movies, so yeah.
Yeah, and
one of those parts.
And okay, yeah, because that's just and that's how I take it away, because the Mockingjay movies are all like it does feel like a two-parter film, and then of course you mentioned Deathly Hallows. Deathly Hallows is definitely a two-parter film. It's just split into two parts so they could have more interactions with the characters, more human moments.
I was going to say
breathe.
I was going to say breathing room, pacing.
And I think in order to tell this story, you had to break it into two parts, even if it's still an overly long. It's a long movie, because there's just too many characters. And on top of that, Thanos has to have his story. He has to have something going on, because if Thanos has nothing, then what's the point of building him up? After 6 years, though.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I understand why they did, and yeah, it's a little unfortunate that it's a two-parter film, but still, I think it's still. I think what we got so far is still working.
Yeah.
So you ready for spoilers?
Sure. Yeah, let's get into it. I really hope people have seen it by the Thursday after, or a full week after, and hopefully multiple times. So they shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, please. If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
All right. What were your big moments, Infinity War? Like, what were your what story moments that you liked?
All the Tony stuff where he, realizes how over his head he is. He prepared for this since 6 years ago, and everything he's done. He's like telling Spider-Man to go home, but he still won't go. And every character thing, every character moment Tony's had kind of has led to this. He got PTSD from Avengers. This is Thanos has done so much, and he's had visions. His arc in Avengers is to protect the world because of Thanos. You see all this stuff that's caused to him, and of course he's going to prepare when he sees that he's coming in. In a way, it showed you kind of even the best of us could still have failure, I suppose.
That's the thing about Tony's story as well, is that it's built into this movie about his anxiety, his PTSD. He's been, this has been in the back of his mind for years and years and years, and now that it's basically confronting him, it's even hard for him to even cope with it.
Yeah.
And now he has this teenager tagging along.
Right. And another Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm. And the wizard, as they refer to him, the wizard that's just tagging along.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're following in at points he is the leader. Mm-hmm. He even becomes he even shares the role of leader when Peter and not Gamora, Mantis and Drax show up. Mm. Thanos ultimately sees that and kind of respects him as the father figure. He sees that Tony has become the father figure of all these characters,
right?
And respects him for it.
Right.
So it's interesting.
I love that little moment where he's like, when he's like, "Oh, I hope people remember," and like he really means that, you know. He really hopes that someone will remember Iron Man because he's a worthy opponent.
Mm-hmm. And it's just a great moment because Thanos knows that he has to kill Tony to get the Time Stone, and and in that moment, Doctor Strange just gives it up because this is part of the one scenario where he saw where to win, where everyone could win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. In Tony's story is interesting, and it is incredibly devastating to see him hold Spider-Man in his arms as Peter is falling, basically turning to ash.
Right.
And then look at Doctor Strange, and he turns into ash as he says, "This was the end game. This was how it has to be."
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and it's incredibly devastating that he's just stuck there with Nebula.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So, my big moment in the movie was everything with Gamora.
Yeah.
I loved because the thing is, I also saw a video essay on the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, The Complex It Feels. And yes, I'll put a link in the description below if you're looking for that, listeners. And she talks about how the complex relationship that Gamora has with Thanos, and that it was a very abusive relationship, and that she's been dealing with that struggle throughout the two films and even before the events of these two movies.
Yeah.
To see her, vulnerable and Peter on the spaceship. If Thanos gets me, you have to take me. You have to shoot me.
Yeah, that was sad. I love that.
You have to kill me.
Yeah, that was very intense for, the Guardians, which, it's not to say they don't go to these emotional depths, but the seriousness of that was really unexpected to see the Guardians handling that,
Yeah, and it's because we know Peter and also, but we also know from what she has said about Thanos and what we see of Nebula, how Thanos has treated Nebula, that for her to look at her confrontation with Thanos and be like, just kill me if it gets too bad, if it gets too close. Mm-hmm. It's really powerful, and of course, Peter cannot do anything.
Right, he's powerless. He just shoots bubbles.
Yeah, and it's the cruelty of Thanos is that Peter understands what to do, but he still can't. But he can't do it.
Yeah, right.
He hesitates too long.
Yeah. That was a moment.
Yeah, and then to add even more, Gamora has to watch Nebula be torn apart again. And then, of course, when she goes to, I can't remember what the name is called, where Thanos and Thanos and Gamora go to get the Soul Stone, but the place where they get the Soul Stone and just how that all unfolded was.
I forgot the name of that planet.
But all of that taking place was all powerful. What is it? I'm not sure what it is called either. Not sure what it is. But it's still like everything with Thanos and Gamora, even in the flashbacks and at the end of the movie when he's in kind of like a spiritual nirvana, when it's seeing Gamora at the temple, like it's still all like really powerful imagery because you see that Thanos really did care for Gamora, and it all leads to a very important conclusion to where Gamora Child asks Thanos, "Is it all worth it? Was it all? Did you see? Or I guess no, that's not right. Did you succeed?" And he says yes.
Yeah, that's a good moment,
and it's a powerful.
Anything with Thanos is just like, so well written and like so. Excuse me. So trying to think of the word, like so. Not pathological. Like such great character work where it's just so much pathos to it. Everything he does.
Yeah, there is, and that's why I said in the non-spoiler section, like, Thanos does a lot of cruel things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the cruelest thing I can think of in the movie that he does is, besides killing Gamora off, is that he basically, causes Scarlet Witch to kill Vision, her true love, and then he reverses back time to pull the stone out of his head and kill him again in front of Scarlet Witch, in front of Wanda, and there's nothing she can do except to sit on her knees and just watch in true horror to see her lover just die again.
Yeah, I
mean, and despite all this, you still feel empathy for him. You still feel, and it all goes into that performance. That's
right.
Like the way he says his line. It's everything. The way you see in his face, the way he says his lines, and in his exposition about Titan and about the places he's destroyed. Like those are like you just. Brolin just sells it.
Yeah, he has.
I don't know how to just
such delivery to him,
Mm-hmm. And it has gravitas. He brings it. He's not just this. He's not just this fun-loving, murder killing person.
Yeah, they even take that line out of the movie. I didn't expect this to be so fun. It's not fun to him. This is his duty to try to save the universe from overpopulation and extinction.
Yeah. And I don't want to critique too much of Thanos' logic because if we critique,
you could critique it to death, where it's like, why can't he create like other planets, or why can't he create like more resources on their planet? So, I mean, and to that end, where it's just like, I guess he's he can't do, he could do that, but I feel like he's such a finite thinker. He might just want to. Just get the deed done,
Right. Like, and that's why I don't want to critique it too much because not only of that, But also, if you think too hard about it, then again, we don't have a movie. We don't have a movie. And I'm okay with Thanos being a bad guy for these reasons.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay. And I'm okay that these Avengers have to fight him for these. I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with this conflict. I'm okay with this being the conflict of the movie. So,
of course, yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I know it sounds odd to not pick it, but still, I'm okay with the conflict.
Yeah,
but so how did you feel about the ending?
I really enjoyed it. It was it was a very kind of ballsy thing to do with many characters. Excuse me, not many, with all these characters, and it put them in a excuse me. Sorry, edit that out. Getting tired. It put the it put the movie in a very interesting place going on in part 2, where it's like, it felt like a really killer like D&D campaign with you eliminate like half the characters, where you're just down to the original Avengers and War Machine and Rocket, and maybe they'll bring like M'Baku or something with them. I don't know. And yeah,
I hope they bring Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Is that her name?
I believe so. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I really hope that, they really play off of that. I'm excited to see that. I did not think. I feel like every character before the snap is dead, like Loki, Heimdall. I don't think Gamora is dead, because it looks like she's still in the Soul Stone. But
yeah.
They killed off Spider-Man, and there's another Spider-Man movie coming up. It's like, come on, guys, please.
Yeah, please quit toying. The biggest thing is that it's like
in my theater, someone yelled out like, "Oh, fuck this movie!" when they killed off Spider-Man. It's like, dude, he's gonna have another movie.
My friend who I saw it with was very devastated that Black Panther died, and she really liked that character, and I was really like having to like consult. I was really like having to convince her, like, no, they're making another movie. They'll find some other way in the next movie to bring him back, and that's really what I came to in watching the ending. Is that the plot of Avengers 4 is basically going to just be the remaining characters. They're going to go on a journey to basically figure out how to either reverse time, like the future past.
Yeah, they compared it to Encounters at Fair Point, one of the Star Trek episodes. I believe that's the season premiere. That, or like the finale to Star Trek, The Next Generation, where it was Q was transporting the card throughout time, and they had to, do all these challenges throughout certain time periods. So that's what Kevin Feige compared it to. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, because I think that's what's gonna. And what will come of it is probably most of the original cast will either die, or they'll stay in one universe, while the other half of the universe or half of the new Avengers, or all like the recent Avengers, will kind of carry on and make their own. I think that's what will probably happen.
I mean, I don't think they're going to kill some of them off, or they'll probably just have them walk off in the sunset, where it's like, there'll be a fitting conclusion to these characters. I really doubt that they'll kill them off. I'm sure they'll be around somewhere, maybe living the civilian life, or just fighting the good fight, but they're just mentioned or something.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking there won't. I don't think there's going to be another Avengers movie after this.
Yeah,
I don't. That's kind of my theory, is because I think this one was kind of like their big event.
Yeah, I mean, like 4 is a good run.
All right, what were you saying?
I said, I don't think they're good. They're gonna do another Avengers run. 4 is a good number, so 4 movies. So and
well, and also I'm thinking that
I was gonna say some would say 5 with Captain America, Civil War.
Right. Oh yeah, thinking. I was thinking more movies are going to kind of be if they are going to put more team movies, they're going to kind of be more like Thor Ragnarok, where we somehow bring like Hulk and Thor into the same universe, and they have their own adventure. Or you do what Spider-Man: Homecoming did, like have one of the bigger older characters be supporting character, and then the title character is like the supporting person in their group. So I'm thinking more that we're going to see a lot more of those versus a team up movie like the Avengers, because I think for Marvel it'd be too insane to like keep doing for every movie like all, what is it now, 30, 40 characters.
Yeah.
Keep bringing them on, and then on top of that, add more, especially and then within the next decade, bringing in, if the Fox deal goes through, if they plan on bringing in like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men again, like it would just be too. It would just be too much for one movie.
Yeah.
To have multiple teams,
Mm-hmm.
you would have to do a whole Rings trilogy in order to like have all these different teams work together. Yeah. So in order to maybe make it work, but so that's why I think we're going to kind of go more towards either killing off a bunch of characters or retiring them, or kind of letting a new group of members kind of do their own thing. And that's why I think, and also they're even talking about doing like different kinds of Avenger movies, like the all-female Avengers movie with, oh god, now I'm blanking. Black Widow.
It's like
okay.
Yeah.
So that's what that's what's been playing around, and I think it, and so I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, of course.
But then again, I don't know. I don't work at Marvel.
Yeah, you could.
I'm not.
You could only dream, man.
Yeah. I'm not Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
But so what else? What other was there any spoilery moments that you didn't like about Avengers: Infinity War?
That I didn't like?
Or just didn't quite work?
I felt that some of the Guardians.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, I felt like some of the Guardians were kind of underused. They were very they were there, but then like some of them kind of were miswrote, like mischaracterized, and it didn't quite work for me, I guess. How some of them sounded and how they were written, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Guardians, because I felt like it just felt weird, because I feel like James Gunn perfectly understands these characters so much that, and we've only seen the Guardians through the guise of James Gunn so much that when we see like Peter like kind of act like a dumb person or act really like stupidly, even though we've seen him like be street smart,
right?
Like still, it's like or
well, I don't.
like,
I
why
wouldn't
would
say he was dumb? Like I don't know. Like some of like he was just too obnoxious, I suppose.
yeah, like there's like Star-Lord is supposed to be like he's supposed to be dorky. He's supposed to be like the Marvel's answer to Han Solo.
Yeah.
But he's not supposed to be like obnoxious and like to the point where it's like annoying.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. And then for the longest time, we were just kind of sitting waiting for Rocket and Groot to do something while Thor, went on his like, I need my hammer. I need another hammer. Even though we clearly saw.
Well,
even though we clearly saw.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying? Yeah, just what were you saying?
Even though I was saying, like, even though we clearly saw in Thor Ragnarok, like, he clearly didn't need his hammer anymore. Like, he clearly got over it, but now he has to go and visit Peter Dinklage to get his hammer, to get another, or, like, the axe.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Yeah, well, I think it wasn't like he needed a hammer to, like, for his powers. I think he needed, like, it's kind of, I don't know, like a God Slayer or something, like something that would enhance his powers even further. I don't think it was like a psychological thing where he needed a hammer, like to complete himself. Okay. Just he needed a weapon that was that could overpower Thanos, and I wish he went for the head, but sometimes we all make mistakes.
Yeah, that's. Well, and also, I get the sense that Thor really wanted just to stab him so he could have, like, his final hurrah.
Right.
So, Thanos have to listen to it, but then Thanos is right. Like, you should have just went for the head. You should have just... Because now I can snap my finger still.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's still... Yeah, and that's really the only thing I wasn't really that keen on is the whole, like, Thor making the God Slayer, and then Rocket and Groot kind of just having to sit by and watch as Thor gets the star thing aligned again, or is the star-powered thing to go. I really, that didn't really quite work. That's minor. The only big thing I didn't care for in the movie was that there's still this Marvel still has this problem in their movies, and this one too, where we have an emotional like scene where the stakes are set, where where we understand from the characters that this is an important scene. This is going to this is an emotional, important scene, and then, it's undercut by a funny moment.
Yeah. Well,
there
have been worse things.
I never liked them.
What's that?
I never liked those moments in movies.
It
feels so weird.
I agree. I wouldn't say they're... like some of the humor, I felt like I didn't like it because it didn't add anything to the story. It wasn't its placement because I felt like it was just like it reminded me of like when it like something like Bridesmaids or like a Judd Apatow film where I love Judd Apatow, but sometimes he doesn't let his editor work, so he'll give like the actors like the whole scene to like improvise, and you feel like it's all improvised, but it doesn't add anything to it. It's just these characters are just improvising, and some of the humor was like that, and then didn't add anything. They were just just riffing off each other. Where at least like some of the humor before in Marvel, where it was reacting to what was going on. You could say that it's badly placed, but it it does have meaning in the scene, and the humor in here, it just felt like riffing, and the movie did need humor because it was dark. I mean, there was barely really any jokes, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to be the proponent of everything has to be dark and serious because I mean, we saw that we saw that we saw that universe stand on the hill and die on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We saw that in Justice League.
But, but the thing, but I mean, this is still there's stakes, and when stakes are being established, it feels cheap. It feels cheap to undercut it with with Drax just standing there making a joke about how he's standing still eating what looks like cheese puffs or something. I don't remember what it's called, but
like that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I didn't notice any of the bathos or the kind of that sense of humor too much in the second half because that's really really in the second half that's where a lot of things got a lot better. Things got more intense and things started to kind of feel the intensity of the film started to pick up right around after Gamora died. So that's where things started to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were still funny moments on the battlefield. There was still, you still got OKA's one line about Starbucks and, Wakanda getting a Starbucks. You still get those, but they're still they're perfectly ingrained with the.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And it's just really, but yeah, and that's. And this will be kind of my last negative point on the movie is I didn't really. I know this is important to storytelling, but I didn't really need to have another introduction of what these Infinity Stones are. I really didn't need. I wish.
I mean, that was for the characters. You could have maybe cut to the end of that. I don't know.
I know.
It was a recap of. It was a recap of what we know already. I don't know. Some people, someone might have forgotten in the audience. You don't know.
Or someone like my dad who hasn't seen any of the movies since the first Iron Man needs to know what's going on. But still, I don't know. It just felt like.
Oh man! If he
as an audience member, I was just gonna.
He hadn't seen any of the movies. Only Iron Man.
Yeah, that was the last. That's actually true. The last time my dad went and saw one of these Marvel movies with me was when when we saw the first Iron Man.
That's did he enjoy Avengers Infinity War?
Oh no, he didn't see the movie. I was just making a point because I was just making a point. But yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
No, it's fine. But I was just using that to make a point. Is that for that audience, for the people that don't watch these movies regularly, you kind of do need it. It's just for me, it's someone who's just seen all. Mm-hmm. What is this? 19 movies. It's we fucking get it. Just hand Tony the pamphlet version, and he'll read it on the way to the first action scene.
Yeah.
Just hand him a pamphlet. Just hand everybody that's not been in the Infinity War business a pamphlet, and we'll figure it. And then they'll just kind of figure it out as they head to the next action scene.
Of course,
because it's just kind of it's silly at this point to have had so many movies to set these stones up, and then it's we didn't have the other characters talk about it that much, so we gotta fix this. Yeah, the minor. These are all really the only major problem I had with it was just the placement of comedy scenes with the serious scenes because as someone who loves the art of storytelling, I value those moments of where stakes are set up.
Yeah.
Within the characters.
Oh, yeah, no, of course, dude.
So that's why it kind of bothers me, but yeah. So So what else can we talk about Infinity War? I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. How did how was your audience reacting during when all the characters were disappearing again? We said that you knew these characters were coming back, but I guess some people don't know that for some reason.
Well, I say, I know that there's a Spider-Man movie that's going to be shooting in New York and London, like, very soon. And I know that Guardians is starting prepping in September here in Atlanta. And then I know that there's already talks of Black Panther 2. So, I mean, I knew the characters were coming back, and the way my audience reacted, and I should say that I didn't get to see the movie till Monday. So my audience, there was a lot of. I think I was sitting next to some kids, like a couple seats down from me. There were just some kids that were just stunned. I didn't see tears. I just saw like their face just and mouth wide open during it all.
Right.
Really the only person that was the most devastated was my friend. Because for me, like I said, I was really sick. I was really sick with allergies to to care that much.
Yeah.
To enjoy or to kind of take it all in, but I still was like, wow. For myself, I was amazed how bold it was. And just how it go. Which is odd saying, because I knew that, because I had to figure that characters were going to die or something.
Mm-hmm.
Cataclysm was going to happen in order for there to be a part 2.
Right, yeah, of course.
But still, it was like, wow, oh my God, they actually did it. Wow.
Right. Crazy.
And then the post-credit scene happened where Nick Fury and Maria Hill disappear. And I'm like,
what a great line. Motherfucker. I love that line.
Yeah, and then I looked over to my friend because I forgot about Captain Marvel's symbol. And I was like, wait, well, what's that symbol? And I was like, and he said Captain Marvel, and he was like, oh, now it makes sense.
Right.
Okay. And you know what? That's fine to not tease the 4th movie, because I'm sure in Captain Marvel and in Ant-Man and the Wasp, we're gonna get some teases as to what Avengers 4 is.
Right. I'm sure you'll get something like maybe the original Captain America, where it wasn't an after credit scene, it was more of a trailer for it, I'm sure.
Right. I'm not begrudging. So yeah, I'm not begrudging the end credit scene. It was really only just a hint. So I'm not begrudging at all.
Of course.
And plus, you don't want to tell. You don't want to tell your audience that, hey, everything's going to be okay. Everything you just watched is going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, my audience was very quiet. And
yeah, I was stunned. I was like, oh man, what an ending. People were like, oh, they were pissed. They were just like it's like they saw someone, I don't know, they saw like a dog die or something,
I do remember someone, like, when the Avengers Infinity War title comes up and the Alan Silvestri beat of just like dun, dun, like it was just the piano sad version.
That was a cool,
I do remember.
Cool little thing.
Yeah, it was.
Well, sorry, I
do remember. No, it's fine. I do remember someone in the audience screaming "fuck you."
Oh yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just sitting there listening to all. I didn't have that much to drink beforehand, so I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for the end credits.
Maybe you should have had something to drink.
And it's all right, water, but I'm okay. I'm still just I was still like ill. I didn't want really anything. So, but yeah, the movie itself was an emotional experience because of just how powerful it was to see all these characters just struggle, just trying hard to make it. And yeah, I mean, and you just felt it. I mean, like when Thanos got and he's just holding, and Captain America's just holding Thanos back as much as he can, even though he knows he's about to get thrown, across Wakanda. You just feel it. Like you just feel the weight of it all. It's like this nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it was just a powerful movie, and I can't wait to see it again. I'm kind of
when you feel
I need to get through this week.
Yeah.
I need to get better. I need to get better. Need to get more happy. Build my see the dark and gritty version of Curious George with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I meant Rampage.
Of course.
Sorry, that movie's been out for a month and I still haven't seen it.
Rampage?
Still haven't seen it.
No, I think it's been out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it came out when the Atlanta went on, so I didn't get to see it, and then the last week of college happened, so
congrats.
I never got.
I'm going to tell you that on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Thank you. So with that, do we have any more thoughts on Avengers? We've talked for about an hour.
No, I don't think so.
All right. So we'll find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, G9892. You could look on the Waffle Press on Patreon, iTunes, and YouTube, which we all have channels for. Put out a new episode.
Links in the description.
Of course, dude.
Okay. I'll put the links in the description below. So everyone check out the Waffle Press. All right, Gene. We're going to move on to the next segment. Thanks for dropping by, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, it was good talk. It was good talking to you, dude. I feel like it's been too long. I can't remember the last time.
I think it was Ready Player One.
Oh.
Perfectly balanced. As all things should be. I hope they remember you.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, I'm using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
So Gamora's dead.
Oh wow, okay, that's the first thing you choose to talk about is that?
She's the only one we know for sure is dead, right? Loki, I guess, but he keeps coming back. He seems dead though. I mean, it's pretty convincing.
Yeah, and
it'd be a very bad plot turn if he isn't dead, but the others though,
especially with how they reference the fact that he's been resurrected so many times. So no, he definitely has to.
Well, I was kind of cynical going in because I was asking myself, whose contract is up with these movies? Like, is Robert Downey Jr.'s contract up? Is he going to die? It looked like he wasn't at first.
Well,
'cause he
everyone-
got stabbed, but then he comes back.
Yeah. I was actually like thinking like, oh, here it's gonna happen.
And then it did happen, but Dr.
Well, then
Strange
he
was
like
like,
put some magic goo on him.
I don't know.
Okay.
You just said the magic goo.
Or he put like something on him that was like webbing or something to like hold his appendage.
Oh, that's just like to seal
The
up
nanomachines.
Yeah, that's just to seal-
nanomachines, son.
Yeah. He needed more nanobites. He was running out. I don't know if you noticed, but like he didn't even have on his legs because he was like shifting them all over his body. I love that sequence, honestly. It was pretty sweet.
So
we can do their best David Hayter impression and say nanomachines. Brandon.
Oh, I can't do that.
Oh, really? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Salt's name. Yeah.
Nanomachines. I can't do it. Kale's gonna join in, not with even not knowing what we're talking about.
No, I don't know what you're talking
about.
No. Anyway, so I think we should try to focus. So, do we want to talk about the actual ending, or should we like go through the movie chronologically?
I think we should go through the movie.
Yeah.
I think it would just be, we would just go off track if we just went to the ending and then try to discuss other things of the movie. So,
yeah. Well, I think what's interesting is the movie tries to emulate a 3-act structure. Did you guys notice that there were like breaks in the narrative where it would cut to black and then resume at a point? I thought that was kind of like an interesting like way to try to make a pseudo 3-act structure when there really isn't a 3-act structure for this kind of story. Like, remember the second act begins with the flashback of young Gamora? You know what I mean?
I didn't notice it cutting to black. But
Yeah, I just noticed that there were 2 distinct times where it's like cut to black, pick up like somewhere else. Like, and then I was like, okay, yeah, so that's act 2 starting pretty much.
When was the second one?
Oh, well, the second one was when they is right before Cap arrives in Wakanda.
Gotcha.
I forget what leads into it, but yeah, it was like, yeah.
I don't remember it cutting straight to black.
I thought that was kind of, yeah, it was like the most obvious, like, it almost felt like a TV show, like, episode ending. That's why I noticed it, because I was like, oh, episode 1 just ended.
Oh, I know what led into it. I think they were trying to figure out who could properly take Vision's Mind Stone out. And then Steve was like, I think I know some people that can do it. And then it cuts to Wakanda. I think that's right.
No, it was before they go through the force field. Anyway, my point is that the movie doesn't really have a traditional structure, is what I was trying to get at.
Well, it's kind of tough too because there's so many things going on, and I mean this is like a narrative Jenga set where it's like where you're just like building it, and you're just kind of having to like structure everything perfectly to where we spend enough time here with Thor and Rocket and Groot with Peter Dinklage, and then you go back to Cap and company, and then you go back to Thanos, and then you cut back to Tony and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and their thing. I mean, you're cutting back and forth so everybody can kind of mingle together, eventually all culminating to where 6 groups of people are becoming now 3 groups of people.
I guess my problem with this series is that it's just a universe where stuff happens. I mean, there's no rules that.
Well, that's every movie.
To where, well, no, because I mean, a lot of science fiction.
It's like this movie's nothing but stuff.
Well, a lot of science fiction movies, there's rules about the universe. I mean, the world building has rules. You got to have. There's one MacGuffin, maybe maybe 2 at the most. This has like 7. I don't know. I mean, it's like it's one thing happens after another, and like Thor's new hammer. Like, okay, it can almost kill Thanos now. Okay, sure.
It's not really it's not a hammer. It's like an axe.
It is.
Yeah. It was clearly an axe. I don't know why. Like some people, I think even in the movie, kept saying like, "Oh, I'm going to make my new hammer." Like I think he says, and I'm like, "Well, I already know it's an axe, so that's weird."
Yeah, and you have 5 stones that do stuff.
I didn't know what it was.
I don't like.
What is it?
It's an axe, but I'm just saying before it came out of the mold, he didn't know what it was. Only Peter Dinklage's character knew what it actually was until it came out, because they've made hammers, axes, swords, everything in that forge.
Okay. I guess my problem, though, not to skip to the ending where they turn to ash, but like they're going to come back, and it's going to be because of another MacGuffin, right? I mean, that's going to be something about Captain Marvel. I don't know, like.
Well,
when that happened in the theater, everybody, half the people gasped, and all of us kind of scratched their heads, like, "Wait, what? Like Captain Marvel?"
Captain Marvel sometimes is more powerful than Thor. So basically, her and Thor are going to bend Thanos over the table and then make everything right.
Well, we're already getting off track here. We're already at the post-credit scene, but yeah, like again, it's like it continues the trend of you're only going to know what this is if you're familiar with the comics, really, or you, have been paying attention and like looking online to like what the after credit scene means, or 7 things you didn't notice, or whatever. So yeah, most people are going to not really be in the loop. They're just going to be like, oh, they'll probably gather that he was trying to get in contact with somebody, but you're not really going to get it, especially since it's not a character that hasn't been introduced in the movies yet.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what that is. It's just a tease for the real.
Yeah.
Like, it's the post credit thing has always been a tease for the biggest fans.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess my point is like people are always like anticipating the next one. And it's like this story that these movies have. Like I'm not really anticipating any of them because I actually am Captain Marvel because I think Brie Larson's a good actress, but it'll be a standalone movie. I always like the standalone movies better, but. I guess with the overall plot, though, of these movies, the Avengers movies, like, I guess that doesn't really make sense to me. The stakes don't really make sense. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like finally, someone actually, there's characters who actually died, like Loki and Gamora have died now. So I guess those are stakes,
Yeah.
Vision died.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was brought back to life.
he went twice.
He did die.
Yeah, that's.
He's brought back to life and died again. I don't know. Yeah. But that's the funny thing about Vision is that when Paul Bettany showed up, it took me a full minute to realize who that was, and my brother was like, "Who's that?" Like, it's Paul Bettany, but I'm not sure who that is. And then, it's Vision. Okay, so I didn't know that he could turn himself into.
I mean, I guess if you've been watching the movies, I don't understand why you wouldn't know who it is.
Because I saw it on one time. I didn't like it. I never watched it again. I never wanted to. So.
Well, then but that's not on the filmmaking. That's on you for not paying attention.
Well, hey, I think to give Brandon to be the mediator here, I am a big fan of this series. Not so much of the comics, but I do enjoy pretty much almost all the movies they've made so far, even the bad ones. But the biggest thing I think as a criticism that I have is that they don't really put a lot of emphasis on certain things. Certain things just happen in like a sentence. Like in Ultron, it's like Vision gets made, and it's like Tony mentions like, yeah, I'm putting Jarvis in this thing. And it's like, if you're not really paying that much attention, because the movies themselves, the core story doesn't require you to pay a lot of attention to it. So you'll probably just like forget some things, especially if you're not paying attention to everything that's happening in a movie like Ultron, because it's like you're just like, I don't know, okay, we're here now, we're in a cave, there's a red guy robot now, and it's like you're just not really paying attention, because you're just kind of lost in the miasma or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so when it comes time to the movie, like that's what's important next time around. It's like you have to be paying attention. Essentially, it's like you have to give it your full undivided yeah. When the core of what these movies are popcorn movies that you can kind of just it's colorful, it's funny.
The reason that we're at 19 movies is because it's more than a popcorn movie, because Marvel's given the devotion and attention to these characters to build movies that people do want to pay that much attention to.
Right, and the homework that's being asked of audiences to do.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, take care.
And and the attention that you're supposed to give to each movie. I mean, as an audience, it's not that much. Like, it's not.
It's a lot.
No, it's not. It really isn't when you think about it. There's seven stones. And
Kale.
There were 6 stones.
Is there 6 stones?
See,
It's
you don't remember the stones.
See, Kale doesn't even remember. See, the point is that
one ring of power in Lord of the Rings, and that was the only thing.
There's 6 stones. There's a purple guy that wants to get them all, and there's all these other superheroes, and that's it.
Yeah.
The only fault that I would give you is I would give you is if you were wondering why Peter, Doctor Strange, Tony, and Black Panther or Thor are very similar characters. Like that I would actually give you if you were wondering why they're all they have very similar traits.
Similar traits?
Like they're like similar like traits or tones or like similar character traits.
I wasn't really thinking that. I mean, in my defense, though, I mean, Star Wars is divided up into trilogy, so you only have to watch the other previous 2 movies or previous movie to understand the new one coming out. Lord of the Rings it's 2 trilogies, Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Most film series are split up and divided so that the ones that are long, so you don't have to watch 18 films before it. I mean,
The other thing too is that this series, the Marvel movies, is now more equivalent to that of the TV show.
Yeah, it is.
And the difference is with a TV show, that's like, I don't know, like a Game of Thrones or anything really that's like 10 to whatever episodes, right? And they're all hour long. Even though a show like that is doing the balancing act too, where it's like it's jumping around this world of like, here's this story A, B, and C, and they won't even really meet up until season 7 or whatever they're at. It's like you need to be paying attention to understand the character dynamics and why this person did this to this person, why they're betraying them for the 5th time in a row now, or whatever happens in that show, the dragons and all that. You want to be paying attention to it, but at the same time, it has a much slower pace. Yeah. So you're able to digest that information over that long period of time, and it kind of gestates week to week, or if you're binging it, all in one day.
Good comparisons, Westworld, because I was more anticipating Westworld season 2 than the Avengers, and that's a very complicated TV series. But I understood the rules to that world in the first 2 episodes of the first season. Like after that 2nd episode, I understood the rules of the world and how the park worked and how the technology and all that. Mm-hmm. And it seems like in these Marvel movies, it's MacGuffin after MacGuffin. It's stuff just kind of happens to where I watch it more for the action, the humor, and the world building. Whenever a film, whenever one of the films does it well, and some of them have done it really well. I like about half these Marvel movies, and half of them aren't for me. But so they're not bad. I like some of them. It's just this one was good. It just felt very confusing for people who aren't into the series as a whole.
So, Brandon, let me ask you this. What did you think about this movie then?
No, I liked it. Yeah, I said there were enough good scenes to keep me interested.
Well, what moments did work?
Story moments, reaction pieces.
Story moments.
I wasn't really into Thanos villain, but the storyline between him and Gamora was very well done when he sacrifices her on the. Well, why is not to get off subject, but why is Red Skull there? This is what I'm talking about. Why is Red Skull in the? I never saw that movie. I guess.
Okay, I was about to say. Wait a minute.
Captain America 1. Yeah. To be really brief, Brandon. He's an evil Nazi scientist.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was asking why
he wanted the blue cube, the blue cube, which houses the blue stone, which is like the second one that Thanos gets from Loki. That was what he was using to power all his Hydra weapons in Captain America 1. And then in his fight against Captain America at the end of the movie, it goes haywire, and you zips him to some other part of space. Okay. Like the galaxy opens up above his head in a portal, and he goes right through it. So I guess he just was like, oh, I guess it sent me here, and I'm the guardian of the Soul Stone or whatever. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I like the opening scene a lot between Thor, Loki, and Thanos. I like Thanos and Gamora's side story. I like the flashback with Gamora was really good. I liked the opening action scene, not the opening, but like at one when Iron Man and I like the side.
Yeah,
the villain who was the sidekick was really well done. I thought he was really
Squidward.
Yeah.
Squidward. Yeah,
this was very creepy. The way he was like talking to people before they were about to kill, that was really well done.
Yeah, he was getting all hype about. He's like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna die. It's gonna be great. You should be happy." So yeah, I thought that made he was the most interesting of the groupies, Thanos' groupies. Everyone else was just kind of like mean-faced, tough people with the weapon that the people had to fight. So yeah.
Andy, what about you? What were big moments for you?
Basically for me, it was all the stuff with Rocket and Thor. I really enjoyed their interactions with each other, and I love that they carried on the Thor from Ragnarok rather than the other films before it. Also, when Thor after the hammer, like he makes his weapon, and then when he uses the Rainbow Bridge to get to Wakanda for the battle, like every time I've seen that, I've gotten chills. Like it's just an amazing moment where he just like shows up on the field, and then they hop off his shoulder and just start going to town on all these like creatures, and Bruce is like, "Oh, you're all screwed now." And it's just like I just love that moment, and the fact that like Stormbreaker can just power through the Infinity Gauntlet, and it's just I love everything about Thor. And then, the final
his muscle. It's like you're like Drax examining him on the table. Like this man is a god. He has the muscles, or like whatever. Everyone's just like looking at him, and Star-Lord's getting jealous.
Oh, speaking of that, well, not that scene in particular, but it's all Peter Quill's fault. It's all Star-Lord's fault. They could have ended the whole movie if he just waited to punch him before he took off the glove. He was so angry he had to punch him and break the spell that she was.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was kind of interesting at first, because the second that, like Gamora gets thrown off the cliff, I knew that was going to happen. That I was like, oh, he's going to be the one to mess it up because of emotions or whatever. But I didn't think of that in a bad way, because I was like, oh, because this was signposted in Guardians 2. When he attacks Ego. Remember, and I remember everyone loves that moment. Everyone gets hyped at that moment because Ego's like, all right, son, time to become a god. And by the way, I kind of put a tumor in your mom's brain. Like, I'm the one who killed her because, I realized that I actually did love her or whatever it was. And then, like, he snaps out of it immediately and he's like, wait, what? And he pulls out his 2 little laser guns and starts going ham on this guy. Not that it's actually going to do anything, but that's just because he's an emotional, reactionary, person. So that's what I think. So it's actually true to his character. It's stupid, but that's who he is.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, no, you're right, though. It's all his dumb fault, and he gets turned to ash for it. But,
Well, not really. Again, he's not really getting turned to ash. Like, what? Okay, let's skip to that, because everybody's so sad about this movie. It's like, it's not sad. They're not dead.
We realize that people are probably going to come back, but
Brandon, it's not that they're not going to come back. It's just that I think that, for the way that you handle it, and just that moment of defeat, and just that idea of like, if they could have done it where they were Marty in Back to the Future or whatever, where they just become cross-faded out, or they just look around and they're just gone all of a sudden, right? But I think the lingering like focus on showing people, I think what it was is the idea of both that now that this is happening, it was kind of like a moment of like, oh, just like it's going to be just random pretty much. I know it's not random really because it's a narrative, but like just that idea of like, oh, wow, I didn't think Black Panther was going to go away. And just like seeing people disappear.
Not to get
it gives that moment of just like it's the moment of feeling like defeat. You're at the end of the movie, and just giving that just like that bad taste in your mouth at the end, which is acting as an antithesis to how they usually end. Yes, they're probably going to be brought back, but it's like the emotion of the moment, I think, is more important than just being like, Spider-Man 2 is coming out next year, so Spider-Man will be back.
I guess for me, I don't like to get in the plot holes of the movies because usually it's just pointless. But why did he need the Yellowstone to do that if he already had the reality one that could turn bullets into bubbles and like, change reality? Couldn't he then just turn everybody into ash if he wanted to? Like,
I guess if I had to make a guess, the reason why you need everything is specifically for what he does. So he's not actually killing anybody, really. I'm pretty sure they're being sent into the Soul Stone or whatever, or they're being sent to some other dimension. And it's like you got to free them from that, pretty much. It's like he's not actually destroying them, their being or whatever. So it's like their soul and their mind or whatever, or like he has to control everyone's soul and mind. And I think what it is like each stone powers the other or something. I saw something like that before the movie. The movie doesn't explain it. But anyway, so it's like he has the ability to go across all of space and all of time to just erase their physical presence, the presence of their soul, the presence of their mind, and reality, I guess. It bends reality to his will or something. So it's like everything played a factor in just that one action, pretty much. And I realized something about that, which is simply like, wait a minute, him and his team and his armies and stuff did a pretty bang-up job just going from planet to planet one at a time, like checking civilizations off the list. And I thought about this is how messed up Thanos is. He just wanted to find the stones to save time. He was like, yeah, but I might die before I finish wiping out the galaxy, so I should probably get these stones sometime in the near future just to save time and have an early retirement.
Or so that he could save more people, because he couldn't get to all of them in time.
Yeah, because he's so messed up in his way, you know. I thought that was kind of neat because, you know, I think that villain from Doctor Strange was similar in that way, where he wasn't really like, mwahaha, the all praise the Dark Lord or whatever, everyone's going to die. He was the opposite, where he's like, nah, everyone wants to live forever or whatever. It's still silly, goofy darkness, whatever nonsense, but I thought Thanos was a better version of the Doctor Strange bad guy.
Caecilius,
yeah.
Caecilius, whatever.
Yeah. I only remember because I saw that movie like a week ago.
See, I never rewatched one of these movies before besides Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
I did rewatch all of them before seeing this, so it was fresh in my head. But that's a lot of movies to watch.
Lucky you. But I mean, hey, a lot of people do it. So I did it 2 years ago when there was only before Civil War. But then again, there was not like 8 more movies.
I rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, and maybe the original Avengers. Maybe, I'm not sure, but
I didn't rewatch any of these movies before watching this. I just know them by heart.
Because that's why. How do you remember them by heart though? Because
I know what happens in pretty much all of them because I can just kind of figure it out, and also the internet can be helpful.
See, I don't look it up.
The internet's helpful, yeah.
It's not really memorable for me, so I don't know like the small details, you know, the acting.
Well, I think Brandon this is just another one of those things where it's like, it's just not that it's trash garbage, but people I don't know what to call it, easy to consume content.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones or what's it called? The Netflix show. Stranger Things. Those are shows that are easy to consume and have the most mass appeal. Usually just because. Not even really for a reason. Or like Fast and Furious, you know. Like these are the things that'll keep making money. And they're not all bad. Sometimes they've got even really good production value and some actual genuine, like, yeah, we want to make this. But they're kind of like, it's like a popcorn flick, but like better produced popcorn flick. I don't know what I'm trying to get at. I think what I'm trying to say is that it's like, it's easy to watch.
It's a blockbuster.
It's like, oh, it's a what?
The blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the word for it. Never mind.
Okay, great.
But that's the thing is that people will take it seriously. Fandoms form around this crap just because it's necessary, I guess, to have a fandom, you know. But yeah, that's why people are so obsessed or like to look at little details like, look, here's the Stranger Things season 3 trailer. Oh, is this the Demogorgon from season 1? It's like, yeah, probably.
Where we live in now, it's all about YouTube trailers and the details.
Yeah.
So let me ask this.
It's all reactionary, yeah. Hey, every one of us nowadays would be Star-Lord in that situation. We're all reactionary. We'd be pistol whipping Thanos in the face.
So let me ask this. Speaking of humor, did anyone have any problem with the humor of this movie? Because for me, what really hurt the film, my biggest kind of thing I will pick at the movie is how it uses humor and how it kind of undercuts mistakes. Like, for example, and this is the reason why I wanted to do spoilers, is because there's a scene in this movie where Gamora is talking to Peter, and she's like, "You're going to have to kill me if he gets me. You're gonna have."
Which didn't make any sense. Because why would she be killed if it's her? Like what?
Because she can tell him where they think.
Okay, well now, so that.
Or the Soul Stone.
So I guess she could just refuse to tell him. He would torture her, maybe.
I think she was trying to get across that she'd rather die than be even near Thanos again. Was more the reason. And she was like, I don't even want to be near this guy. Kill me if he just shows up.
And it's a powerful moment between these two because Peter.
And then Drax pulls a silent act or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, why do we need a comedy moment to undercut the stakes here? Because we now know and it's the same fucking thing that happened in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Fucking
when he tells him about the mom and then Scott Lang's like, wow, what a beautiful moment, and then he realizes he ruined it and he's like,
yeah, fuck, why do we need these moments in these movies?
I really like Ant-Man actually.
That's fine. I like it too, but why is it in there? Why did we need?
Because you don't want people feel. Now this is the weird thing because normally I would say that every single one of these movies, well, for the most part, Winter Soldier and some others are the least like this way, or don't really have those moments. They let sad things be sad or dark things be dark, or whatever. But movies too. But then again, the way this one ends, I was honestly surprised Thanos did not crack a joke before it cut to black.
I know.
I'd say that it's usually, but the reason why is because you don't want everyone feeling bad in their fun movie. You gotta be like, oh, joke, get him. Guys, haha, yeah, sensible chuckle.
No,
or whatever.
What? No, wait, why?
The board of executive was watching it and saying like, no, Scott Lang needs to make a clip here, and then they're like, yeah, and then they throw the clip back in to the cut, and then they're like, all right, yeah, that'll make the kids laugh.
Am I not like?
And then we get them at the end when everyone dies.
Chris, am I not like Am I not crazy?
No, I agree. I think that it should have less of those moments. Like, have more of the like, oh yeah, take this a little bit seriously moment. But then again, that was the Guardians of the Galaxy, and their whole comedy of their movie is nothing but those moments.
Right, but still, it's a very serious moment that.
Is it weird that I've never been emotionally invested in any ever?
What?
I don't know. I've never been emotionally invested in any of these characters. Right? Yeah. So I don't really care about the humor.
Jesus, Brandon.
I really have never felt.
I'm not really surprised, Brandon. These are just cartoony, funny little things that are supposed to sell toys.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame you if you're not emotionally invested in the story or the characters.
I've liked some of them a lot, but I just have never felt emotionally invested in any of it. But
I feel as someone who loves the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I feel emotionally invested. And because Gamora's story is about. Is it okay?
Huh?
Are you okay?
Yeah, why?
We hear a sound.
We hear a crunching sound.
I'm sitting still. Like, there's nothing going on around me.
Are you, like, eating something?
No.
For whatever reason, you're making, like, a sound.
It might just be my mic distorting or something. Because I'm perfectly still. There's nothing going on around me. No like construction, no nothing.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So
Ignore me.
anyway,
Hey, you know what my favorite part about like the movie was? I really liked how a little kid just like turned to dust and was like going, "Oh God, I don't want to die, please, fucking God!" As he like disappeared into nothing. So many little bitch baby kids cried at that in my theater. Like I felt like really just like, oh man. I was like looking at like a kid dressed up as Spider-Man and he was like bawling his eyes out. I'm thinking like, oh shit.
so
Yeah, you better cry, baby. I cried when Optimus Prime died.
what? Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that did happen in one of those movies.
Yeah. No, Revenge of the Fallen. I mean the animated movie.
Oh, okay. All right. So do we have any more things to say before we get into the discussion of what could possibly happen?
Everyone comes back and they kick his ass. I mean, what else is going to happen?
I meant talking about this movie.
Oh, right.
What's there to talk about though? I mean, like there's good scenes and there's not so good scenes. Like it's all kind of mixed together. Like I don't know what else there is to discuss.
Andy, do you got any more thoughts?
Oh wait, we didn't even talk about Peter Dinklage being big.
Yeah.
Wait, let's hear.
That was the best joke of the movie.
That was interesting. Yeah.
What, Andy? What were you trying to say? Oh. Anyway.
Wait.
Anyway, Peter Dinklage joke. What was that?
Did he go away?
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh, I hope it was just he got disconnected and not because I rudely interrupted him. Sorry. He was kind of quiet for a while. Maybe he just got pissed off and left.
All right. Just pause for a couple seconds.
All right.
All right. So the ending.
There's a moment of silence for Loki and Gamora.
Oh, and Heimdall and Squidward and the other ones.
Oh, Chris. Speaking of Squidward, I posted a new video on the channel. You'll like the intro to it.
Oh yeah. I have to check it out. I'll check it out later today.
Okay. Well, anyway. So the ending.
Is this actually the podcast right now, or are we waiting for Andy to come back? I mean,
No,
what's happening?
he's gone. Let's go.
Oh, what happened? Oh yeah,
Chris,
Andy's
shut up.
gone. Oh no,
Shut up for
Andy
2
got
minutes.
disappeared. Andy got disappeared. He got turned into ash.
Chris, quiet for 2 seconds.
What? Wait, you just said start talking about the ending, and then you immediately said shut up.
Oh my god. Okay, the ending. So, everyone's turned to ash. It was an intense moment. Not Gamora. Fucking who? Scarlet Witch had to watch her boyfriend Vision die. Fuck you.
The third Olsen sister.
Why are you so pissed off?
I'm
calling her the third Olsen sister. I'm not calling her whatever that name is.
Elizabeth Olsen. Scarlet Witch.
The third Olsen sister.
Or Wanda, because people have to be particular. Wanda has to watch Vision die twice.
What are her powers? This is what I mean. What does she do?
She's weird.
Exactly. Like what is like she said? They said that she's the only one who can. I don't know.
The Mind Stone, I guess, gave her powers, and so she's the only one who can blow up the Mind Stone. I guess I don't know.
She's like if I guess if you combined Professor X and Dark Phoenix together, or Jean Grey.
Okay,
together.
I mean, to be fair, this is a whole.
Hey, Brandon, do you want the real answer?
No,
you want the real answer? Okay, the real answer is that she's an X-Men character. She's a mutant in the comics. So her powers are just telepathy, mind controlled, whatever, right?
Okay.
She's just she manipulates things, right? That's kind of what she does in this movie. The problem is that she does not have the excuse of being a mutant because they don't exist in this universe. You have to use her anyway. So she was given magical powers from some kind of magic space stone.
I mean, this movie's a whole lot better than Age of Ultron, but both movies made me feel like I'm doing a test. I didn't do my homework for it. Like, I'm just kind of I'm like, wait, what? And I kind of get this, but wait, what?
Yeah, you're not really fully, But that's what my point about earlier was, is that like I like these movies, but I mean I know this information, but yeah, it's like everyone else will probably be like, oh, what? What's this now? I don't remember this guy. Yeah, so definitely it's prone to that, definitely.
So they turn to Ash, and
Ash.
Brie Larson's gonna come save them.
Thanos, yeah.
Yep.
Supposedly Brie Larson made it through the exodus of dust.
Will this be a pseudo-feminist movie like Wonder Woman, where like, because it's in March, it's Women's History Month? Will it be like the new, like, women empowerment kind of movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be a female-led superhero movie.
Well, Brandon, that's exactly what they need right now. So shut up.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know.
It's going to be Captain Marvel is fighting a thing. She's going to fight Ben Mendelsohn.
I hope that like
she's going to fight Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh yeah,
always a good villain. But
he's playing a Skrull, I think. Oh, Brandon, you are going to love the Skrull. And by love, I mean be absolutely confused by.
I hope that like next March, like a biopic about Susan B. Anthony or someone like that also gets released.
Yeah.
It just tanks the box office. It just tanks and Captain Marvel.
No, it needs to succeed. Well, no, I'd love a Susan B. Anthony biopic.
But see, my point though is that that's the joke though, is that there's these Wonder Woman, everybody loved it, but it's like, is it really that good though? I mean, it's good, but is it really that good? Like, it's okay. It's not kind of forgettable, but.
Well, yeah, you're taking okay and blowing it up to be, but you're giving importance to it, I guess. I kind of feel the same way about Black Panther. Is that like, man, Black Panther's pretty enjoyable, but why are people saying this is like the best thing ever?
Yeah, it's not. Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's a good movie, very good, but they're not. Neither are important movies. I mean, Black Panther and Wonder Woman.
Moonlight is probably more important than Black Panther, guys. I mean, I don't know why everyone.
I argue that. Otherwise. Well, I would argue. Not to have this discussion again, but because I've had this fucking time. The reason why it's not necessarily about the quality, or it's a little bit about it, but it's not necessarily.
It's like it's a good movie's not good because it's good. It's good because
it's not that it's good. It's that there's not been. It's that these certain groups of audience members. Whether it be women or Black people,
it's easier to watch a superhero movie than it is to watch a biopic about Susan B. Anthony.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
plenty of them. Yeah.
But that's kind of the reason why it's okay, or it's why people are kind of getting all up in arms about excited for Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman. That's why they're getting excited, because they're or even now that Birds of Prey movie that apparently is coming soon. People are getting excited because there's more of that.
Dude,
those kind
what
of
is Birds of Prey?
There's always been those kind of movies though. This is just
not.
Yeah, no one was championing. Oh, dang it. What was it called? The one with Shaquille O'Neal where he played RoboCop or whatever.
Well, first of all,
Steel.
What about Blade? In the cases of like Steel and Catwoman, they didn't.
Catwoman.
No, I'm saying superhero movies with strong. It doesn't matter. I'm saying there's been strong movies with strong female-led roles before, plenty of them. So.
I think they were looking more into like what's popular in the zeitgeist now.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't,
because superhero movies make money.
But people go and see these movies.
That's
because they make money.
Who cares? Like,
it's always because whatever makes money.
They're not important though. They're not important
because they make money. Money's pretty important.
Jaws and Star Wars are important. These are not Jaws and Star Wars. Like,
I wouldn't say Jaws or Star Wars is very important, to be honest.
Well, I mean, technically they are film history.
They are,
wise.
yeah.
There's only those movies that are blockbusters. There's only like. I can count on my fingers.
I would say a touchstone in filmmaking, 2 touchstones in filmmaking. They're pretty important.
Yeah, there's only like 5.
I don't know, guys. Star Wars not existing probably would have been for the better, but whatever. Anyway.
Anyway,
Jaws is a movie about a shark. I don't know why everyone thinks that movie's so important. It's a movie
Star
about
Wars?
a shark.
No,
It's
not.
Jaws.
Oh, Jaws. Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's a movie about a shark. It didn't really pave the way for better shark movies. I don't know if you guys noticed, but almost every shark movie that is in Jaws is complete ass.
Well, how many other times can you make a movie about a shark attacking a small town?
Right, that's what I mean. So what is it important because it's the only good shark movie? I don't get it.
It's important because it made a fuck ton of money.
Well,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
It changed the culture of. It changed the whole release strategy of making and release strategy of movies.
Okay,
so the movie's not important. The money is.
Christ, we are so off topic.
Okay, there's several things about
I know.
Besides,
I would recommend Avengers.
The music is for one became a part of pop culture. The idea of not showing a monster was unheard of.
I think more of the opening dun dun.
Yeah,
became more important than the music did, really.
Well, that's the music, yeah, the song itself that John Williams made. But it's the idea of not showing the monster until halfway through and keeping it,
I think there's an
Yeah, but that was because the shark looked bad.
I think there's an artistic.
Well, yeah, it was an accident. Yeah.
Hey guys. I think there's an artistic statement to be made about this podcast that we have kind of divulged from the big, highly anticipated movie to we're now ranting.
People come for the podcast and the topics, and they stay for the train wreck.
Avengers is a blockbuster, so this is talking about blockbusters. Now, there's only 5 important ones. I just want to make that clear. There's only very few important blockbusters that technically.
So we got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out in 2 months.
Yeah, that looks like a bunch of fun.
Yeah, it looks like fun.
I haven't seen the trailer for it yet. I like the first Ant-Man, so I'll probably like this one. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm looking.
I want to see things that are normally small get turned really big, and I want to see things that are normally big get turned really small, and then the audience laughs. Wait, why am I being a cynic? I like the first one.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see anything from Captain Marvel. Because you said earlier, Brie Larson's a great actress.
She is.
And
she's the only Oscar-winning actor to ever be in these movies, isn't she?
I think Robert Downey won.
No, he never won. He was nominated, but she's the only one who's, besides maybe Anthony Hopkins, who's technically in the Thor movies, but he's not really a superhero though. So is she the only?
If Susan B. Anthony was a superhero, what would her superpower be?
It would be No, it wouldn't be mind manipulation. Maybe super strength. I don't know. She would fly.
I thought you were trying.
She would fly.
Yeah, Susan B. Anthony. Her superpower, flight.
Should be a vampire slayer, obviously.
Anyway.
I need to get into that show.
Avengers is a good movie. You guys have probably seen it.
Yeah, and
the audience.
Really good. And it's really good. And I love the risk. And I like the... I know you're laughing.
I just laugh every time I hear Kale say something, and I can hear Brandon's eyes roll.
I know you guys are laughing at it, but for what these movies are doing,
at the word risk, I definitely have to roll my eyes because there's no risk.
I really thought it was brave how they made kids cry.
I
think even they know there's going to be another Spider-Man movie, though.
Not to a 7-year-old.
Sure.
Does the 7-year-old?
But I have to admit, I do like the idea of ending the movie on the note it did without it being Cap looking but we'll avenge them or something. You know what I mean? Just letting that feeling settle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But Brandon, you got to at least agree with that. In terms of the narrative, it let that just be the feeling of the end of the movie, not thinking outside the movie, but within internally. It lets it end that way.
I'm not emotionally invested in this movie, so I don't know. I don't really feel that way.
Well,
it's really hard to explain why I'm
not. But
I guess, yeah. I mean, okay, they fade into dust, and they're gonna come back. I don't know.
Well,
I guess
maybe
a kid may take it seriously, but I don't know how an adult could take it seriously anymore. When
well, it hurt for me. The reason why I can kind of take it with some gravitas is that because the movie ends with them losing. Yes, we know there's another one coming out in a fucking year from now. We know that there's going to be, more Marvel movies regardless. We know there's even going to be a Guardians 3. So the reason why to have any investment of the ending is that this whole movie has been about fighting this one antagonistic, one force, and also being invested in what Thanos is doing. Because that's the one thing I can say about this movie that I really did enjoy really did get into is I can buy Thanos' logic and buy into like what Thanos is doing, even though he's doing things that are absolutely just purely cruel. I'm still with him on this journey, and so to see Thanos win, but also know from the Avengers' point of view that him winning means that half of the universe is gone, and that seeing half of the universe being wiped out, it's kind of a bummer. And none of these movies really end in like a bummer.
The universe got wiped out. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just see everyone just like, fuck. Like just seeing everyone go, well, fuck, what do we do now?
I wasn't as emotionally invested in this as I was with the characters dying in Rogue One. I mean, and speaking of that movie, not to get into the Star Wars debate, but I remember you guys complaining there were too many planets in Star Wars Rogue One. It was
I don't think
there are way too many planets in this movie, to be fair. I mean,
at least we're on a planet for more than a minute.
I had none of the planets were interesting, to be fair. I mean, it was just scenery for a backdrop for an action scene. I mean, it seemed like I thought when they had the word space show up, that was kind of a joke. They were in space and they were, like I thought I really laughed
space.
But they kept showing the new places. I'm like, okay, like I know it's Scotland, or I didn't know that, but it's like I can kind of guess that it's not, it's on Earth. Like, they more and more planets. It's like I don't know anything about these places. I don't know what the context is, what these places are. Yeah, like I don't know. I guess I'm the only person looking forward more to the Han Solo movie than this one. Or I was.
It's yeah. So with that said, do we have any more thoughts on what's coming ahead, or?
Well, I think it's going to be at least interesting, given the cast that it's been slimmed down to. Plus, I guess Ant-Man and Wasp, if they make it past the disappearing, since Ant-Man and the Wasp takes place prior, I don't know how they're going to, whatever. And the new character, Captain Marvel, coming in. I'm actually really interested. I was actually kind of interested in seeing how Rocket, and I think Nebula is up with Tony. Yeah, how is Nebula and Tony going to get off that planet, by the way?
I think she still has her spaceship on Titan,
She crashed it into Thanos and it blew up in a million pieces.
Oh, Nebula, that's Gamora's sister. Oh, okay. She's the blue robot. Yeah. Okay.
She was a blue robot lady. She's from Doctor Who. But anyway, the having Rocket being really the only of the Guardians left until their, I guess, inevitable revival was interesting because he is now with the Avengers. So that's going to be one of the weirder things, too, was that Rocket only got to interact with Thor in the beginning. But now it's like Rocket has been displaced from one team to another. So seeing a CGI raccoon next to Captain America for the duration of 2 hours, I think is going to be kind of interesting, to say the least.
Or if everyone kind of if Tony and Nebula kind of meet back up on Earth with everyone to kind of regroup, and then you have Tony and Rocket, and then you have everyone else. Like, yeah. I mean, Avengers 4, it will be kind of a bummer when it goes, but then I think, interesting enough, I think the Avengers will finally now be avenging.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because
now everyone has somebody to avenge.
I mean, they avenged Coulson in that first movie.
We'll avenge you. That was always weak, dude. It's finally now they're Avengers because they're avenging half the galaxy or whatever.
Yeah. And to be honest, this is only half of the story. There's more to come in the next couple films. So, yeah.
Brandon, how many more movies do you have to watch before you understand this plot?
Well, no, I understood the plot of Black Panther. It just depends on the movie. I'll never understand the Avengers plot, the plot line from the trilogy. Or really, there's been 4 Avengers.
It's just the thing is that
Captain America.
I guess it's tolerance. I guess it's just everyone has like a tolerance for the silly, and this is just borrowing the same prose and the same cons from the comic books on which these stories are based. A lot of people prefer, like Brandon, the standalone, more character-focused, like Black Panther stories, or like a Winter Soldier or Guardians, which is silly, but still, about a smaller story, pretty much, a more character-focused narrative. And then the comics, of course, have to sell and make money, so they make the big crossover events in the comics. The Avengers meeting the X-Men and fighting or whatever. And then that will sell a lot of money. Usually they're lacking. Or maybe they're not lacking, but at the same time, people still are like, oh, there's so, like in the comics, Brandon, if you think the movies are bad, and I'm not trying to, anyway, but the comic books, like the Civil War comic book storyline is one of the most confusing things to follow, because it's like it requires you to, because it's a long running narrative. It's not just a mini series of comics. It requires you to get the full picture of what's happening to read like 12 or more concurrent series. Like it requires you to go from a Captain America series to, I don't know, the Secret Warriors to whoever else is involved, and jumping back and forth at specific moments between issues. And I'm like, yeah, at least the movies aren't like that. Holy crap, that's terrible. Don't even get me started on the Iron Man one. What are you talking about?
It's really loud.
I don't know. Like, I'm just sitting, again, I'm sitting still. I'm not moving. I'm not in a creaky chair. I am sitting perfectly still on a couch. So maybe it's my mic.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
Oh my
It's really
God.
noticeable. Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, I can't tell you guys. I don't know what you guys are hearing. I'm sitting still.
All right. Well, then if we're all good, let's wrap it up.
I liked it. It was a fun movie. That's what it always comes down to, though. You always go like, but I'm not invested in the characters. But Brandon, you don't understand that. But I don't care. I don't care about Doctor Strange or whatever. And it's like, Brandon, you have to be invested in most of these characters in order to understand the story. It always is like that with us. Every single time, this was no different.
Oh, so nothing has changed. So in 2019, when we get to Avengers.
What's that?
When we get to Avengers 2019, it's gonna be like Chris.
Oh, I know what's happening. I'm using my phone, and it's been going from the headset mic I've been using and the phone mic. That's probably what's causing. Because it's getting more distortion. Because
no, it sounds bad. Hold on. Chris, talk.
Hello?
Yeah, that was perfect audio.
Oh. That's probably why. It's been going between two mics all this time, I think. Or it's been using the wrong one.
Damn it!
Oh, well.
You know what? Let's just wrap it up.
All right. Well, see, like I said, people stay for the train wreck. The bigger a train wreck of your podcast, the better it is.
It's true.
I'm keeping all this in. Fuck it.
Yep. Even Andy leaving? Wait, do you have to retroactively edit him out?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, guys, Andy left. But don't worry.
Mikhail, even if you left Andy's bits in, people would be still wondering why he hasn't said anything for an hour.
It's not okay. Whatever. Anyway,
dude, you know what'd be the funniest joke is if, like, in one of the future movies, like one of the characters disappears into ash, like halfway through the movie, but no one notices and no one cares. That'd be the funniest thing in the whole series.
You know what?
Right there.
Actually, I thought that's what was going to happen is after everyone like been dusted, everyone would just forget they existed.
Oh man.
Yeah, I thought that's what was going to happen. It was going to be like, oh, they were just erased from existence.
Yeah, but then you don't really have any like conflict afterwards.
Yeah, but oh well. I can't wait to see Avengers Forever, whatever it's called.
Avengers Forever, yeah, Avengers Forever. I think I don't know.
Who cares?
Get it? Because it's forever. That's such a late '90s, early 2000s thing. The forever.
Forever.
Like seriously, like just the number forever. And sometimes it didn't even make sense. It would just be like, yeah, we're this forever.
Batman
it's
Forever.
Like, yeah, but why is there a 4?
Yeah, that's right. Batman Forever was just the third one.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense at all. Nothing. The movie didn't last forever. Nothing in that movie lasted forever. Tommy Lee Jones didn't last forever.
Oh, well, he's still alive.
Jim Carrey didn't last forever.
He's still alive.
He's still alive. What are you talking about? Their
Michael
careers
Gove.
didn't last?
Michael Goh didn't last forever.
Okay, joke's over.
Okay.
All right. This podcast has been going on forever.
All right, so where can... Okay. Oh, wait, you guys don't have Twitter plugs.
No.
Well, do you want to
But we
promote
started a
that?
YouTube show. Brandon started a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
You
do you want
should
to
check
promote
it
that
out.
here real
We're
quick?
starting a YouTube channel. Yeah, sure.
We'll go ahead and say what the YouTube channel is.
Cacophony Productions.
Kakakakaka.
It's going to be a lot of kakaka.
Yep.
Um,
On there. They're cool.
Please check it out. We're going to have some more content throughout the summer. And yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait till we talk about each movie and have the same roundabout conversation where Brandon doesn't get it. Gail tries to make Brandon get it. And I'm just sitting in the corner being like, I wonder who will win in a fight,
It
Hulk
depends
or
on the
Thor.
movie. You know, it depends on what movie it is. I'll have something.
And
to
then
say.
we'll alienate the one guest we have.
Oh, man. You know what? I hope he's okay.
He's fine.
I hope he didn't actually get disappeared in dust.
Oh, he's fine. He's just in the other universe.
He's in the Soul Stone.
He's in the DC universe.
Oh no, what if that's what happened to everybody at the end? Is they got sent to the Batman v Superman universe?
That'd be very mean.
Oh god. But now it's happy now.
Oh yeah, that's right. They'd fit right in. Actually, no, they probably hate it.
Because it's like a false happiness.
Yeah.
But hey, they'll be with their friend Joss Whedon again.
So Aquaman's coming out?
Yeah, still.
Let's keep this podcast rolling. Let's talk about Aquaman.
Actually, no.
Oh.
You can.
We've got stuff to talk about with the channel and all that with the projects.
So, yeah, we'll just stop there. So, you can find me on Twitter at MovieKale. You can also follow the channel that distributes this podcast at KHC Network, and you can also follow this podcast at The Youth Critic. You can find Andy at The Talking Can. Please send him follow, a message, check in on him, make sure he didn't actually go to the DC Cinematic Universe. All right, everyone, we'll be back with you very soon. Actually, we're going to take a little break but we'll come back for Deadpool 2. So we'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.
That's a really long break.
Where it's a necessary break.
Wait, I don't know when Deadpool 2 comes out, actually. I thought it
May
came out in
18th.
July. Oh, that's a lot sooner than I thought.
Yeah. We'll be back for Deadpool 2. For sure. We're just taking a couple weeks because the channel's going to kind of go through a bit of a soft reboot, restructuring. We're getting Joss Whedon to come in and reboot everything.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
I was born into war, bred into it. People think they understand pain, but they have no concept of it. What's the most pain you've ever felt? Maybe the kind that leaves you more machine than man.
Wait, no, stop! What in the actual ass? Dale, why are the visual effects not done? It's a metal arm. It's not like we're trying to remove a mustache. Ah, fuck it. I'll do it myself.